What do you think a fallen angel is?
What do I think a fallen angel is?
Yeah.
What do I think a fallen angel is? I feel like this is. I sent you that video of. It was some guy talking to Tom Segura about this like story that there was a pilot from Mexico flying, and he basically was flying and he like lost time and wound up like at the final destination of whatever he was supposed to be flying to. And they had a recording of him basically being used by aliens for like trance. You know what I'm talking about, right? You remember?
Yes.
Okay, so he was used by aliens and like put in a trance state and basically spoke through the pilot saying that like the aliens are here and they're basically giving the human race a warning to like get rid of nuclear weapons or they're gonna like destroy us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I sent it to you because I thought I just thought like the idea or the thought that like aliens caring about us, like what, who cares if we like destroy ourselves? I feel like this is tied to fallen angels though. That's why I brought it up.
What, how,
Be-
and why do you think it's tied to fallen angels?
well, because I feel like all the things we are taught are very like, or at first are presented in a very like three-dimensional way, in the sense that it's like if somebody thinks of like a demon, right? It's like there's this thing. If we give things names, like a fallen angel or um, a demon, it's like we create this like perception of something outside of ourself.
That's true of everything, though.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
But I think like I guess it could be used for good or bad, but like it's this idea of like what is a fallen angel? Okay, like the typical story of a fallen angel is that like basically there was angels in heaven who were, I feel like we're always taught they were like jealous of the human race, or and
Not
that's what
always,
caused.
but yeah.
I feel
Okay.
like that's the common theme. Like they're jealous of the human race, and they basically came down to Earth to kind of like mess with God's creation.
Yeah, but we're
Uh,
going very biblical here.
I know. Well, I mean, an angel, in a sense, typically is associated with the Bible or
Yeah,
Catholic.
but what do you think a fallen angel is?
I don't know. See, like I told you, I had like a past life regression where I died during the past life regression, and my soul left my body, and I went back up, and I saw myself as kind of like a stereotypical form of an angel,
Mm-hmm.
and I was told that I needed to go back because I had work to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which, whatever that means. But I think there's higher dimensional beings that come down to experience the physical. So I
Uh-huh.
think, in a sense, we're probably all fallen angels because there's aspects of us in higher dimensions. And I think, like, we come to this dimension to have an experience because, like, it's slower or it's just maybe it's harder or it's like more like the physical is intense. So I
Plus, you
think,
forget.
yeah, you
If you
forget.
forget who you are, then you can change into something else.
Yeah, or it's like, you know, I think, but that ties into like the experience. It's like maybe if you're more enlightened or perfected in a sense, or uh, have a higher level of consciousness, then you, um,
Encapsulate more of the archetypes.
yeah. So then if you come down in density, maybe that we like forget and we could try and experience new things, and it's just like 100% about like just having a different experience than being so super aware of everything.
I feel like if you're in a physical body, your kind of vibration, your consciousness, your awareness has to do with the fluidity of which you can move in and out of concepts. And the more of yourself slash the universe that you've integrated in themes reflects how much you're kind of how much you can contain of everything. And so if you have a really open mind and you can fluidly move in and out of concepts, in and out of structures and rigidity, moment to moment, depending on what you prefer or what's useful in that moment, that's reflective of how large your consciousness is.
Yeah, so then a fallen angel would be like lowering its consciousness to like, what's the purpose? To
You tell
just
me.
experience. I mean, I feel like we move, in the big picture of everything, we kind of move in and out of like higher consciousness experiences, lower consciousness experiences. I feel like it's just like the ebb and flow, and it's just like a shift in like
Perception?
experience, really. Yeah, I
Yeah.
was gonna say perception, but I went with experience.
Hmm.
Why do you ask about fallen angels?
Because you've had those experiences, and in one of our podcasts, you were told by a spirit that you're a fallen angel. So I wanted to know what you thought it was. Also, because of what you said about your wife dating you because you were trouble,
Yeah.
and I related the two together.
Oh yeah, maybe. I mean, I think I sent you the scene where like in Goodfellas, Henry Hill, or the guy playing Henry Hill, he's dating this girl, and some guy was like abused her or something, so he came out and like beat him with like a gun, and then made her hide the gun.
Hmm.
And my wife always related that to dating me. Like,
Hmm.
she felt like she was like the girl and she liked the fact that like I was a certain way.
Uh huh.
A fallen angel, I guess.
Well, fallen angels to me are just like, well, look, realistically, fallen angels are probably the humans who can contain the angelic consciousnesses, the angelic constructs in one human, realistically, because we're at a lower density, but also they are essentially the demons, so to speak. And also, like, um, I feel like all of these concepts are multifaceted regardless.
Yeah, well then what do you think a demon is?
Um,
Because I feel like a fallen angel demon is kind of a similar thing.
Honestly, I feel as though the angels and the demons are actually the same entities, to be
It's
honest.
just the
Like,
perception of them.
well, think about it like this. Like, when you and I are talking about our dynamics and the triggers between us, you'll often get kind of intuitively suggested or intuitively flow into saying things that trigger me more, even if you don't necessarily fully identify with them. And that's helpful. You know what I mean? Triggers are medicine,
Yeah.
especially like if you know how to use them, they're medicine. Even when you don't know how to use them, oftentimes they're medicine. Um,
Yeah.
it's all about like the whole. I feel like the whole universe is kind of conspiring to
Awaken
help you
us?
integrate. Yeah. Well, like it's also conspiring in the other direction because you can use it to become less conscious as well. But
Well, it's like, even I think we talked on the podcast before, but just to touch in on it, it's like the Kabbalah, and then what's the other one?
the clip off.
Yeah, so that's like from what I understand, the Kabbalah is like maybe the light side of things, and the clip off is the darker side of things. But
Yeah, and when we talk
but
about
if,
light and dark, it's just consciousness and unconsciousness.
yeah, so it's like, if you're not familiar with the tree of life, there's like different points that are called sephiroths, and they kind of symbolize like different aspects of consciousness. But if you're working with the darker side of things, it's really just like bringing up like whatever your subconscious urges are, or your
Hmm.
unconscious urges. So it's just like a different way of working. Because I
Yeah.
feel like if you're working with an entity that, or symbolically an entity that is viewed as like darker, it's just going to reflect back to you like your own darkness, which allows you to be more conscious of your own darkness.
Well, you worked with, do you call it lamb or lamb? You worked with lamb,
Lamp.
which is lamp.
No, I'm kidding.
You've worked with some of these theoretically darker entities, and like the things that were dropped into your head, they're just conceptual awarenesses, right?
Yeah, like lamb, I don't know. I've never felt like it was darkness at all, really. Actually, it felt very, to me, like lamb. If people don't know who lamb is, basically it was a channeled entity that Aleister Crowley, probably one of the most famous magicians in the last, couple hundred years. He was like a entity that he channeled in the Great Pyramid, and I guess he viewed him as like his holy guardian angel. I don't
Hmm.
even remember how. I feel like you might remember more, even though it's my story. I don't even remember how I got connected to Lamb exactly.
I have
But
no idea. I don't think you've actually told me.
yeah, I don't know. I forget how it came up. I think I was like, I had some like, I always felt like a connection to Aleister Crowley, and I had some like
Oh yeah.
interactions with his spirit.
Okay.
And then I was always pulled to Lamb when I saw a picture of him, because there's like a famous picture. It's like a portrait that Alistair like drew or painted.
Just for what it's worth, most people know lamb as Aiwass.
Yeah. I'm not into like whatever the Golden Dawn or Thelema, so I don't know like the depths of Crowley. I just know him from feeling him in spirit, who's another person who I feel like got a really bad rap for the energy that I've always felt in his soul, from
He
connect.
wanted the bad rap. He wanted it so bad.
Well, yeah. I think he liked being like, no, he, I think he wanted to be known as the beast. So it's
I
like he
think
wanted,
that he knew that there was a freedom in it.
yeah.
Because if he could have that reputation walk ahead of him into rooms, then people wouldn't fuck with him. You know,
Yeah.
certain people wouldn't fuck with him.
Yeah. Like a defense mechanism, or like
Well,
feeling, yeah, whatever. Anyway, so Lamb always felt more of like bigger than like just like a entity. It felt like almost like an old like archetype or something.
hmm, that's an
Yeah, so
entity.
yeah, but it was like more of like it just felt like very like conceptual instead of like what.
Keep going.
It
I'm
always
just
felt like
failing to
more
see how it's not an entity.
yeah, I guess it is. It just felt like very it felt fluid to me more,
Uh huh.
and then like also like very like uh it was like concepts, and like it was weird how the energy would interact with me. It would kind of put like structures of ideas instead of actual ideas. I don't know
What
how
do
to
you mean?
explain that better.
I need an example then.
Yeah, I don't remember. I just remember having breakthroughs working with it. And I worked with it pretty consistently. Like, I read a book by uh, this like Russian magician who came up with like rituals on how to work with him, and I did like you're supposed to like focus on his picture, and on Lamb's picture, and it was believed that the portrait that Aleister Crowley painted or drew was a portal into connecting with Lamb.
Do you ever feel like some of these magicians, like, invented entities to channel energy into themselves or into
Yeah,
concepts
totally.
that they
I,
wanted to
t-
embody?
I totally thought that's what Lamb was, actually. That was my original thought of what Lamb was. Because Aleister Crowley was kind of famous for believing that, like, and I also think this ties into Scientology and like Dianetics. L. Ron Hubbard, he like was close with. I don't know if he was close with Crowley, but I'm pretty sure like him and like Jack Parsons had a relationship, and Jack Parsons was I think connected to Crowley, but and Scientology, like there's an aspect of Scientology that believes that like basically you're supposed to like purify yourself. I forget what they call it. They have like their own phrase for it. It might be getting clear, but
Mm-hmm.
so like once you perfect yourself, like in the afterlife, you create your own like universe, and then like you become the god of your universe, basically. But I mean, I could
I
see the
am the god of my
metaphor.
universe.
I know. I mean, I understand that aspect, but it's like almost like he made it seem like you like physically like create your own. I don't know. So I always thought like what would be a way to like actually build energy is if you like created your own thought form and then got people to worship that thought form.
It's so backwards and negative, though. Like, if
Yeah, it's
here's the thing, right?
manipulative.
No, but it's not even that. It's like if you already conceptualize the idea that you're the god of your own universe, what the fuck do you need other people's energy for? You can just tap into all of the source energy in the universe that already exists.
Yeah, well, I think like I'm sure Crowley didn't have it all figured out, but he was just like I feel like he was just somebody who like wanted to push the edges and
Mm.
probably had these like corrupt, perverted views of like what he was trying to do and would come up with like manipulative ways. I mean, don't get me wrong, like I think there was a lot of things he did that like he pushed the boundaries, especially I'm sure like for his time, like I'm sure he was seen as evil because he was doing like sex magic and stuff like that. So, like during that time, I'm sure he was viewed as like evil. But like people who do like energetic work now understand that there's like innate magic with like sexual energy that you could do that's like um I don't want to say like righteous. What's the right word?
Sacred?
Sacred, yeah, or like yeah, you can use sex in a sacred way, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So like I think you needed people like Crowley to push boundaries for people to like come out and be comfortable even with things that like they don't necessarily had to be uncomfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
But that being said, like he seemed like somebody who was really just like in search of like power and control. I don't know if he
Maybe.
he, he doesn't he didn't from reading his stuff, he never felt like somebody who was just seeking like liberation or like enlightenment.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't really get a lot of his stuff, to be honest. I read it and I'm just like, eh.
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
need all the codes and shit. Just put it to me. Just lay it out on the fucking table.
I think he also, like you said, like I think, like, to me personally, if I like shadow work, right? We've been doing shadow work.
Hmm.
I know it's helping me, right?
Yeah.
So if I know it's helping me, like, and I see something in somebody else, and I feel like they're open to me working with them or helping them, like, I'll share whatever I've learned with them.
Yeah.
You know, especially if like somebody's like in pain or suffering. It's like, I see what you're doing. I see what's going on. Like, this helped me. Even like
Hmm.
mediumship. Like, I always say to people, like, mediumship changed my life. Like, it opened up like a whole new perspective of things. So, like,
Mm.
if it helped me, like, I think it could help other people. So, if somebody's like, oh, I want to learn mediumship, I'm like, all right, like, let's do it. So, the fact that he gatekeeps things or like has codes, it's like he, to me, he doesn't have like a pure intention. Like, why are you hiding things?
I don't know if coding things is necessarily gatekeeping a thing. Like, not inherently. I'm not saying that he didn't gatekeep things, but I think that putting everything you know into a book, even if it is symbolic or coded, is, I don't think that necessarily counts as like keeping it from people. But his kind of ethos was like anyone can do magic, anyone can learn this stuff,
Yeah.
but you have to have the intelligence. Like, he was very much an intelligence elitist.
Yeah, but it's also, yeah, but that's logic. Like, it's like, that's why, like, in a way, magical, I feel like magical things can be very, like, analytical and, like, it's almost like, it could be, like, almost scientific materialistic. You know,
Yeah.
it's like you have to, like, do these steps to get to here. If you don't do it this way, it's not going to work.
So there's a reason why they do that. And that's because if you feel like that you have to do it a very specific way, it means that all of your focus is on it, for starters. And secondly, when you get to the end and you've done it all right, you're 100% certain that it's going to work. So there's a power in that too, in terms of like
Yeah, I
training the
understand that.
initiates.
I get that, I guess. Um, but my thought is like, your frequency is what allows you to move through things or get stuck in things.
Correct.
So it's like you don't need anything. Like, if I'm not
That's
ready, I'm not ready. I'm not going to get to it.
that's technically true. And like, coming from someone who, like me, I did this top down. I became consciously aware that I was God way early in my awakening and learned everything else from there. Like, I have literally brought it from the top into the human experience. Usually people go the other way up, if they're doing initiations and working with magic and whatever the fuck. And eventually they, either through their work or whatever the fuck, come to realize that they're God. But when I found out that I was God, I did not have the ability to just be like, oh, okay, I'm choosing my reality. You know what I mean? Like, I had to learn everything. I did everything through shadow work,
Yeah.
essentially. Like, I did everything by collapsing myself a thousand million times. Usually people expand, out, further out, to the point that
Yeah.
they realize that they're God.
Yeah, but I guess maybe a part of you, yeah,
A part of me, what?
knows you're God. So that's why you had access to it.
Technically, yes, but that's true of everyone.
Yeah, it is. It's a conundrum, I guess.
Okay. So what do you
Um,
think being a fallen angel means to you?
I don't know. Like, I feel like, first side note is that I feel like I don't really fully take anything on just because I hear it from spirit or I have synchronicities Or because I feel like there's so many different aspects at play.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like to say I am or I'm not, like I'll tell you something because, oh, I had this experience and it showed up this way,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like sometimes, or a lot of times, I feel like things are just basically bridges to like other things. So it's like, you get pulled a certain way that may be like the initial direction to go, but then it's like it fine tunes itself the more you open up to the idea of something.
Technically true, yeah. I mean,
So,
like I have experiences where I'm using my dowsing rods to ask questions, and I'll get a no one day and a yes another day, and it's just it literally just depends on what I believe in the moment and what I want to be true at this point.
yeah. So, what do you want to be true?
So many things, and like I don't know, like my experience this year, especially just in the last couple of months, like I've just been able to just choose what is true of my reality more and more. And if I stay in that vibration, it just works. It just happens. I don't always have control over it, but it does work.
What works? Just staying in your truth or viewing it as truth?
Yeah,
Like, are
viewing it as
you,
truth,
so
believing
what?
it,
So, what?
believing it to be true.
Like, saying, uh, like being like, oh, I want a new car. That's my desire.
No, no,
Okay.
no, no, no. It's not, I
No,
want a new car.
I have a new car.
Yeah, I'm getting a new car. The car is
Yeah.
on its way.
But like I'm saying, are you like visualizing it like you already have it? Or
Um,
you're
I'm
staying in the
just
truth of like that you want it.
not that I want it. Like want it's the wrong word, but yeah, I'm staying in the truth that it is an option. I'm staying in the truth that it's happening, that it's already happening. You know.
Yeah. But how do you stay in your truth and not have attachment to it?
Well, that's the thing is like the attachment is only indicative of the fact that another part of you doesn't believe it's going to be true.
Yeah.
Like if you have an attachment to any outcome, it just means there's a part of you that's worried that it's not real.
Yeah. Yeah, but where do you get it to the point where you fully believe it?
It literally can change moment to moment. You know what I mean? I can
Yeah.
believe it now, and then in 5 minutes, something might shake me, and I might be like, "Oh, I'm not sure," and
Yeah.
suddenly it becomes shaky.
So like we should do a test.
What do you want to test?
Well, you're saying that you're doing it all the time now. So let's like put you on the
Not always
spot.
successfully, but okay.
Oh, come on.
I could tell you with 100% certainty whether or not I feel solid and stable in a belief or not. Like I can feel the I don't know
Yeah.
instability in me if I don't believe it. If there's pressure on a thing, like as soon as we go, okay, let's test it. Inherently, there's pressure. Inherently, and built into that, inherently, there's also this idea that it might not necessarily be true. Hence, why else would we be testing it, kind of thing. But sure, like throw me a fucking curveball.
So the act of perceiving it as a test would shift your ability to do it because you want to test it. You want to be right. Or you
Yeah, already the foundation is
successful.
that we're testing a theory, so it could go either way, right?
Mm. This is why like the universe is just such a mind fuck.
It is such a mind fuck. I love it.
Because it's just like anytime you have an answer, it's like there's also another answer. And it's
Yeah,
like,
it's the yin and yang. It's like even if you're like fully conscious or something, you can there's like a degree of unconsciousness in it, and so on and so forth. Like
yeah,
every universe has a portal to a different universe in it, to a different option, to a different result.
yeah. I don't want to test you. I believe you. Because then it
Oh, you were
just puts
testing
pressure.
me.
No, I
That's
thought you were gonna
interesting.
test. No, I'm saying like testing your. You said you've been doing well, so like let's just put it out there. But
I wouldn't like I wouldn't call it a test, but like I've been consciously aware of like choosing certain realities and not choosing certain realities. I'm
yeah,
like hyper aware of the fact that as soon as I start seeing someone in my life as like I don't know, like if as soon as I start perceiving someone in my life as having like ulterior motives or like some shadowy business going on, and my kind of like hackles get raised, I would say. Like I kind of get
what does
suspicious or
that mean?
defensive, or it's like um
What is a heckle?
hackles get raised. Or is it heckles? I don't remember. It doesn't matter. It's kind of like the energy of like when an animal gets defensive and all the hair on the back of the neck stands up.
Yeah.
That kind of just like, am I in
Okay.
danger? What's going on? Energy. Your Scorpio moon energy. Um,
So it's me.
as soon as
I
I what?
raise your heckles.
No, no, no. I'm saying like to relate it back to something that you've experienced.
I'm sorry. I
Oh,
have to know the origin of the word heckle.
okay. I could have sworn it was hackles, not heckle. Hackles, hackles.
So when your hackles get raised,
Yeah, it
oh,
refers to a dog's
interesting
fur
word
standing on
phrase for
end.
definition. It's an interesting
What
choice
do you
of
mean?
words.
By me?
Erectile, erectile hairs along the back of a dog or another animal that will rise when it's angry or alarmed.
I had no idea that that was the literal definition, and I'm really pleased with myself that I actually gave the actual definition of a raised hackle. Um,
Or a long narrow feather on the neck or saddle of a domestic rooster.
all right.
What about
Um,
wild roosters?
the point is
I'm sorry.
that
Go.
uh I'm aware of the fact that when I get a bit like uh my hackles get raised when I get a bit suspicious, when I get a bit defensive, when I get a bit preemptively like, does this person, are they trying to like fuck me? Are we dealing with some shadowy entities here? Are we whatever the fuck's going on? And I'm not conceptualizing it through the wounded inner child. Suddenly my reality feels a bit like dangerous or like shifty, or I'm like, I get a bit weird. So I try to flip it back into the perspective of like, okay, well, if anyone's acting out of their shadow, they're just like coming from a wounded child place, which
Yeah.
helps.
Yeah, I mean, you have more compassion when you see everybody as their wounded child, right?
Exactly. And even in that state, like if someone keeps doing something to you or isn't working on their shadow or refuses to become conscious of a thing or refuses to transmute or whatever the fuck, like you can still walk away with unconditional love because you're still viewing them through this place of like, okay, well, they're at where they're at and I'm just choosing to move forward in a different direction, um based on the preferences of my life or who I want to surround myself with or whatever the fuck, instead of like, oh, they're bad and they did a bad thing to me, kind of thing.
Yeah. So how does this tie back to the fallen angels? So what do you think a demon is really? A negative thought
Um,
form?
yeah, I think the angels and the demons are the collective consciousnesses groupings of certain vibrations in an unconscious and conscious sense. I think that's one aspect, one dimension of it. But I also think that um like I believe and I have interacted with people's higher selves being both sides of the coin, like conscious and unconscious. Ugh, it's so weird how to describe. Um, it's like if I go up in the higher dimensions and I interact with someone that I know and I recognize them through vibration, through just like kind of cognizance in a way, is you just feel that it is them, even if it doesn't look like them. Um, it's like they don't have the filters that we have. They don't have the ability to like self repress they just operate on all of their beliefs, whether they're positive beliefs or negative beliefs. And it's like you don't second guess it, uh, or at least they don't second guess it. They're just being themselves, and like we're the ones who put good and bad judgments on things. Like up there, it's all just like interacting with one another, which technically is true of here, but um, I don't know. But yeah, so I think the angels are kind of like that. It's like two sides of the same coin, the angels and the demon. Uh, it's like the demon is just the unconscious parts of the angels. Does that make sense? It's just the flip side of that consciousness, and it all exists at once.
Yeah. So then where do the aliens come in?
Well, they're like us. Like, uh, they, at least at some point in time or a different dimension, had bodies, right? They're only aliens or extraterrestrials because they're not physically, native to this planet. And in some shape or form, they have corporeal form. If not, they would just be an archetype, an entity, a concept, which is kind of what we all become, I think, at some point. Like our collective consciousness is a series of and a singular entity or archetype or construct in and of itself. And as we gain consciousness, we kind of all coagulate in a way as well. So I think that like some of the angelic consciousnesses, or maybe some of the lesser archetypes, I say like a group of Pleiadians, for example.
So it's like a social construct.
Yeah, or like just a construct in general. Like at that point, does that make sense?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, there's a real part of me that doesn't believe that there's anything outside of us.
Why?
I don't know.
I just find it so fucking exhausting, that concept that there's nothing
Why?
else in the universe that could possibly be physically sentient. It's just so small. It's so small minded. It's
I don't
cramped.
think it is.
Why?
Because I feel like we're inside of something.
Ourselves.
No. Like, I think there's like, I think we're inside of like some sort of experiment. That's my real belief.
That you're not necessarily wrong. Like, okay, so at least according to Bashar, like the origin of kind of life on Earth was a lot of different extraterrestrials coming together, putting their DNA into the primordial soup, so to speak, and then just like seeing how it all panned out. And so there was a
That's what Bashar
timeline.
says.
Yeah, that's what Bashar says.
Okay.
That's like the kind of origin.
Yeah.
And, so life on Earth develops. We get plants and animals and algae and fungi and whatever the fuck else. And at a certain point, the Anunnaki come along and they're looking for gold or some shit for their atmosphere, for their whatever the fuck. And Homo erectus is around. So we're talking probably around 300,000 years ago.
Homo
And
erectus?
Homo erectus is a type of, it's like pre-human primate
Who
consciousness.
chose that name?
Okay, so it's called Homo erectus because it stood on two legs. I think it was the first pre-human primate.
I honestly
Primate?
thought you were
Ape.
going to
Anyway,
say it was the first human that had an erection.
they were erect. That's kind of the... Anyway, so Homo erectus is around, and the
Okay.
Anunnaki are like master geneticists, and they take Homo erectus and they splice in their own DNA and, manipulate it and whatever the fuck to create a race of beings, us, in order to use to like mine the gold and do the farming and the whatever the fuck, I don't know, whatever else they needed to function here on Earth. So it wasn't like the TM Anunnaki, it was like some offshoot that they had like sent to Earth. So it was like some subgroup of like, I don't know, fucking contractors or some shit. And then So they make us, which they weren't allowed to do. It actually is against like the rules, supposedly against the rules, right? This is all just make believe shit anyway. Um, Supposedly against the rules to make us, but they made us anyway because they're like lazy or whatever.
But whose
And
rules? Whose rules?
the Anunnakis, so they,
Oh,
every single group has their own kind of code of ethics or rules or whatever, just like we do. We have laws and shit like that.
yeah,
And so they make us, and then not only do they make us, but they also interbreed with us, which I think is the Nephilim, uh, the kind of like half gods, half humans
yeah.
uh, offspring. And I don't remember where we were going with this. What was the question?
You were explaining like Bashar's belief of like
Oh yeah, so
how
we
we
are an
got started.
experiment. So we have like
Yeah,
life on Earth is like a mix of, a lot of different DNAs from around the galaxy, so to speak, and then also it just us as a race was also kind of like, I wouldn't say an experiment, but like certainly an intentional thing. And so this timeline split, right? As Homo, like on the timeline that the Anunnaki didn't come and they didn't fuck with our genetics and whatever the fuck, they like that's what the Sasquatch is, or the Bigfoot, or whatever the fuck, is like
those are
the, yeah,
Homo
that
erectus.
that's why, like, why do we look so different from all of the other apes and primates, right? So
Yeah,
the Bigfoot, the Sasquatch, is how we would have naturally evolved were there no intervention from a race that's more like a gray alien.
man, I wish we were still Bigfoots.
Well, that timeline also exists, and they interact with us, and they have like a conscious ability to like jump through dimensions and whatever the fuck, because they were allowed to evolve naturally. So because we had all these like consciousness restrictions put on us, like the idea that we weren't God and we weren't creative and powerful, just like the Anunnaki were, because they positioned themselves as our creators and our rulers and things like that. They essentially created us as a slave race. Our consciousness didn't evolve at the same pace as, like, say, the Bigfoot, the Sasquatch. And so instead, we're kind of stunted amongst the universe and only coming to a level of consciousness now that, in the natural evolution, because they had freedom, the Homo erectus, like the, and not ancestors, whatever, the Bigfoot, the Sasquatch, evolved into having like more, the usual universe powers, which we kind of lack.
Yeah, that's interesting. No, well, I think of like I read all of like Zachariah Stitchin's books.
Okay, I don't know who that
He
is,
was like
but
he wrote a bunch of books. He was like a Sumerian scholar, and
yeah.
basically like read all their like Genesis stories, and basically said the same thing that Bashar said, that like we were kind of genetically created from like aliens, and they created us to like mine gold
Yep.
because gold was something that was used to like heal some sort of issue they had at their home planet with like the atmosphere or something.
Yep. Yeah.
And I've always thought it was interesting, but I also felt like, I don't know, my thought has always, part of me has always thought like religion's dying in a way, and like uh you know the whole idea that like um needing some like higher authority to like dictate the direction of like the human collective, and now like we bring aliens into the picture and normalize aliens, and then like kind of create like an authority.
They're
And
not trying to position themselves as an authority
no,
whatsoever.
no, I'm saying they don't exist, that like they're made up to create like a false authority, so like you could basically fake like an alien invasion, and like I feel like the average person would give them authority because they're
Let me
presumed to
just
be like
answer a
more
question for me.
advanced.
Does everything not both exist and not exist at the same time in this infinite universe of ours?
Theoretically, yeah.
What do you mean theoretically? The answer is yes or no. It's Schrodinger's fucking universe.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess yes. Yes, I
Okay.
guess.
And so he is like, so Bashar has said we're creating each other in our respective universes,
Yeah.
which is true of anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
but
we
it's
could conjure
always, yeah,
anything.
but really, like, it's always just your perception of things.
Okay. All right. All right. Then
Like,
let
if
me
I
ask you
have a
this.
belief, if I have a belief, if I have a belief, like
You're
anything,
annoying.
let's go with like synchronicities, right?
Okay.
So, like, you symbolize a rabbit. I feel like sometimes you, so like a rabbit will show up if I'm like talking to you or
Yeah.
something.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe it's like, maybe I have like an unconscious desire to like have connection with you. So then, like, the
Or a
rabbit,
conscious desire. Fuck you.
yes, no, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying like, no, but I'm saying like, all right, this is great to talk about because I feel like this is a good subject to talk about, actually, all this.
Uh huh.
But like, say this is like very shadow work. Like, say I want to be like, there's an unconscious aspect of me that wants to be like more vulnerable with you
Uh huh.
in any aspect,
Or
right?
conscious. Yeah. Okay. Why do
No,
you
but
always
I'm
say it's
saying
unconscious?
because I'm trying to explain this. It ties into like what I'm explaining.
All right.
So I have an unconscious aspect of me that wants to be vulnerable with you, right?
Uh huh.
But the conscious aspect of me, like whatever trauma I have, like I don't feel safe being fully vulnerable, or I don't. Yeah, that's it. I don't feel safe being vulnerable with you because of trauma I have from like my childhood, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what happens is I experience synchronicities because my unconscious mind is like pulling these synchronicities in because I need to convince my conscious mind that it's safe through like synchronicities.
Is this why you're a fallen angel instead of an angel? Like,
No, what do
for
you mean?
me, right? I would say that you have a conscious desire to be more vulnerable with me and an unconscious desire to keep yourself safe. But you flip it. You go consciously, I don't want to be vulnerable with you, and unconsciously, part of me does.
Okay. I
Does
don't
that
see.
make
I
sense
don't.
to you?
No.
So, like, your
Explain further.
shadow is your unconscious, or like,
Yeah.
technically, all of your beliefs are your unconscious. But let's say your shadow is your unconscious aspect. Why would your shadow want you to be more vulnerable with me and your conscious mind want to not be vulnerable?
That's interesting. Well, because I think like to me personally, I think it's like your unconscious knows your truest desires. It's your ego and your conscious mind that is like holding it back.
Wild. Wild. This is just representative of you identifying with the ego more than the soul, I think.
Yeah, maybe.
Wow. So you're saying consciously, you hold yourself back from being vulnerable.
Yeah, I think so.
Wow. So could just choose something different then.
What do you mean?
Well, if you're consciously holding yourself back, then you can just consciously do something else.
Yeah, I guess I never thought of it like that. Mm, that's interesting.
Am I breaking your brain right now?
I'm just thinking about it. Like, I guess I could.
No shit. Do you
Yeah.
want to try right now?
I don't know. Like, I have to think about this. I have to
Why?
think. I guess,
This is amazing.
yeah. I guess I have to think about it. Maybe it's. I mean, that was an example, you know?
Okay,
I mean, I
but
don't
it's
know.
true.
It is to a certain extent. I mean, you don't think you like hold back vulnerability consciously?
Unconsciously.
No, you're aware. You
No.
don't think you're aware of your own
Like I make
vulnerability?
myself more conscious of it as time goes on. Like
Yeah.
I desire to be fully open, fully vulnerable. And if I'm not, it's my unconscious that's holding me back because it's trying to keep me safe from, I don't know, being hurt. You know what I mean? So it's like it's when I'm not being vulnerable that I'm not being my true full self because I feel like my true full self is just naturally open
Yeah,
and expressive.
but if you shut down because like somebody's not being reciprocal with vulnerability, you're consciously deciding to shut down.
I would say that I'm
That's not unconscious.
unconsciously. Yeah, I would say
I,
that I'm unconsciously deciding to shut down.
no way.
Why?
That's bullshit. I think you're like it's like a cop out. Like you're trying to blame like you're unconscious. If like we're trying to be vulnerable with each other and I am not matching your ability to be vulnerable, like you feel like you're being more vulnerable than I am, and then
Yeah.
you say, okay, well, like I'm not being matched, like then like you don't deserve my vulnerability because I feel like
Yeah, that's a
vulnerability.
conscious. That's yeah, if I'm making the choice to, yeah.
Yeah, so that's
But
what I'm
like I
saying.
always make the choice to just keep staying vulnerable.
Yeah, so that's that. How is that not your That's your conscious mind.
My conscious mind is choosing to be vulnerable. It would be an unconscious defense mechanism. Even if I'm choosing to shut down, even if I'm choosing to withdraw, it's because part of me is like, oh, I'm being hurt or whatever the fuck, or this hurts from my childhood and
Yeah,
I'm
so when are
projecting it
you like
here.
not choosing that? Like how is it unconscious? Sure, give me an example of it being unconscious.
Okay, so let's say I open up to you right now. You don't reciprocate. I feel hurt. I feel wounded. That's already triggering something unconscious because hurt and wounding is from the childhood. It's from some
Yeah.
negative belief I have. You know, maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I'm not worthy. Maybe I'm whatever the fuck. And so any
Yep.
choice that I make out of that hurt, out of that pain, is an unconscious choice, right? If you just weren't being open with me and I wasn't triggered about it, I wasn't hurt in any capacity. I just consciously went, okay, so this person doesn't want to be open and vulnerable with me. I prefer open and vulnerable people. So I'll just move on. That's a different kind of choice. That's a conscious choice because I'm not triggered. I'm not worried. I'm not taking it personally. I'm just going, okay, this is just where you're at, and I want something different. That's a conscious choice.
Yeah, but I feel like if you're at a certain level of unconscious, I mean, if you're at a certain level of consciousness,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you have to be aware.
That's the thing, right? Is like it's not necessarily this black and white on off thing. There is like a spectrum in everything. In every binary, there is a spectrum. So
Because hold
if
on a
if
second,
I'm
because
what,
you know, like your energy is shutting down.
but I have to make myself aware of that consciously because otherwise, I just feel like
Yeah, but
I
I'm
guess,
always
I
aware of my energy.
okay, so if you're always aware of your energy, why don't you choose something fucking different?
Um, because I think there's like, I think it goes back to like comfort and like stability. You know,
So
like
you
you
feel
feel that
comfortable opting into negative choices, negative
maybe
beliefs
just
because they feel more stable.
because maybe you don't know they're negative in a sense. You just
If you're
know they're
if you're
the
shutting
same.
down, if you're being smaller, if you're being less vulnerable, if you're
Yeah.
opting into old patterns, old choices and not being open, considering the fact that when you're open, you're always making better choices for your timelines.
Yeah.
Like, why would you think that that's the better choice?
I don't think because I think you're so conditioned to think that's the way, like because you're just used to it.
And yet you're saying that you're consciously making that choice.
But this goes back to like what we talked about with like being analytical. It's like I told you
You mean
somebody recently, like,
defensive?
yeah, but I'm just saying, like, I think we, it's like me, right? Like, do you think I'm trying to understand myself?
Yeah,
Okay, do you think I've always been like that?
technically.
Okay, so I think I've always been like how I am. I
Okay.
was like, I've always like nitpicked why I think certain things or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like like I've probably said on this podcast 100 times, like I didn't realize like the process I actually needed to do because I never was aware of it. So it's like you don't know what you have to do until you figure it out.
Okay.
So I'm saying like if if you have a pattern that you do, like all right, when I would work on my own triggers before really getting into the depths of the shadow work we've been doing, it's like I
Mm-hmm.
would try to like figure out why I thought a certain way and like what was making me angry. And a lot of times I would even get into like feeling it in my body, but I didn't have like the full process. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like I would always remember I would get into like if I was feeling something come up, I was looking at it from like intellectual way, but I would feel it on my body and like feel the connections of the energy, but I didn't know I had to feel it.
Express it.
Yeah, my point is that I didn't know I wasn't doing it the right way. I was just trying to like figure out how to like work through it. So it's like until you know that like, oh, this pattern, even though it like you might not even realize it's negative, it's just the pattern you do.
Yeah.
So it's like how you can't get out of that until you have the awareness of like there's another way.
Exactly why I would say that it's unconscious rather than conscious.
So then maybe I'll go with I am unconscious.
It's a spectrum.
Yeah.
Okay. But so I get vulnerable or I ask you to get vulnerable and you don't get vulnerable. That's a choice. Yes, it's a conscious choice. Every time you make a choice is conscious technically. But at the same time, you can be making a choice for unconscious reasons.
Yeah.
Because if you're just going, I'm protecting myself from this other thing, whether that's an outcome or a person or whatever the fuck, that's a degree of unconsciousness because you're not consciously aware of the fact that you're God, you're creating your entire experience. There is no such thing as other. You're, interacting with a mirror, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. No, now I see what you're saying. I mean, I guess it was interesting because I feel like we, you helped me work through some stuff. What was it? Friday. We
Mm-hmm.
were kind of working through things, and I felt like a really like deep clearing of like trauma, like probably
Mm-hmm.
the deepest I felt so far. And I felt like I woke up today like a fucking ray of sunshine,
Mm-hmm.
and I could feel my energy. Like and I feel like the more I do the trauma stuff, I feel like my boundaries and like my own energetic sovereignty gets more clearer.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I also like the thing I'm realizing is like how much people actually really affect me.
Mm.
Like everybody's like emotion, like how much like it does. I guess I didn't realize like how much I was taking on and how much people affect me.
Yeah.
You know, because we've talked about it 1,000 times of having an open solar plex center. But it's like I noticed today, like I got into like an argument with somebody over something stupid. Like we were just like bullshitting, parenting stuff,
Hmm.
and like I could feel how much like her feelings push into me,
Yeah.
and like even now, I feel a difference from how I felt this morning to like, and it just feels like I could feel her like anger into me,
Okay.
and I feel like I'm not. I don't. I didn't. I wasn't that aware of like how much it influences me.
If you were to close your eyes right now and just cut an energetic cord between her and intend to send all of her emotion back to her, can you do that?
No,
Really?
I don't know. It feels like there's just something sitting there.
Okay, so it's your trigger then.
Yeah, maybe.
What are you
I
triggered
mean,
by?
I was triggered by her reaction.
Okay. Why?
It had to do with like freedom and like parenting and like
Hmm.
allowing your kids to like have their own freedom. Because
Yeah, but what is
a
it? Your kids are free, so what's the
well,
big
because
deal?
it's probably me. It's probably representative of my mom's conditioning on me, like how
Hmm.
much she would like. You know, they in over here. I mean, they call it helicopter parenting.
That is also true here, yeah.
I thought Australia is in another world. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we call it kangaroo parenting.
Do you?
Get back in the pouch. No.
Oh, I actually thought that was true.
No,
Because
it's
doesn't
helicopter
I'm
parenting.
not sure, but I've heard that every Australian person has a pet kangaroo.
Yeah, I actually have a couple in the backyard.
Oh, all right, cool.
Yeah. You
Do you
named your
really?
kid after kangaroos. Joey?
Bluey?
Joey.
Joey? Oh,
That's a baby kangaroo.
I know. Um, yeah. So it's. I think it's just maybe the recognition of her being such like a helicopter parent and kind of being very overbearing.
How did your inner child feel unsafe in that moment?
Uh, my how did my inner child feel unsafe?
The trigger
Actually, you
isn't
know
this
what?
intellectual thing. Go on.
You know what I really feel like the trigger
Yeah.
is like me sharing my opinion and somebody having such a really hard reaction
Yeah.
where it was just like um it was just like I was just saying like I believe this
Hmm.
because I feel like this happens when I am this way with my kids. Like
Yeah.
I wasn't like, "Oh, you're doing it wrong. You should do it like this."
That's how
But
she heard
she
it through her trigger.
yes.
Hmm.
Yes. So that's why I was like, I'm just trying to share my insight because I have more kids, and I I feel like
You have
she's
more
very
kids.
like no, but she's very like she was very like stressed. You know, like you could tell the anxiety she has from like having to deal with the kid, like very uneasy, like
You were
very like
stressed because she was stressed. You were sensing her emotional turbulence.
probably.
That's why you sought to alter her method of operations through your opinion.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's good. Do you do this for a living?
I do this trying to live.
Yeah. Um, yeah. So yeah, what you're saying is totally correct.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I already feel better.
Because you understand it.
Yeah, but like you know what's weird is like I feel like sometimes what is it in me that when you I want to say fix me,
Okay.
okay? What is it in you that when you fix me, it activates your dad wound?
I feel valuable. I feel seen.
Because a lot of times when we work, as soon as it's complete, I feel like your solar plexus on your right side light up.
Hmm.
Now it's gone.
I see. I don't feel it, and I don't think I did when it happened. But yeah, if I had to say anything, like it's when you're like, "Oh, I feel better now." I'm like, "Ah, I did the thing. Great." I that wasn't
Yeah,
like I don't feel like that was resolved whatsoever. Like I would have actually led you into a transmutation, but apparently sometimes just hearing how energy bounced from them to them to you, whatever the fuck, it kind of like undoes it for you.
yeah. And your thing is gone. Like I feel like it like blimps in when I.
Blimps.
Yeah, I was I immediately regretted that choice of words. I'm trying to talk. I'm trying to teach you American lingo. You know.
American lingo. You think blimping in is American lingo? Blimping
Yeah,
in.
blimping,
Blimping. Not blip. All right. Sure.
blimping.
American lingo. Fucking hell.
I like making up my own words sometimes. Makes
That's
me feel
fine.
more unique.
Okay, so my thing blimps in.
Yeah.
and and what were you trying to do with it? The thing that blimped?
What was I trying to do with it? I was just acknowledging it in case something was coming up for you.
In case something was coming up for me. I mean, like, I feel like your solar plexus isn't just your boundaries, it's also your expression and like willpower and things. Like if your
Yeah.
solar plexus was represented as a planet, it's your sun, it's your ego, it's your like self. Um and I am here to heal people. What with
Yeah.
all the Virgo and the Chiron conjunct Sun and the Cancer and the whatever the fuck else, like, if you say, "Oh, this has helped," I'm like, I just
Yeah.
glow. You know, it's kind of
Yeah.
what I'm about. Do you get
So,
nervous every time you feel it?
no, I
Okay.
just acknowledge it. I just like to like acknowledge it in case like something else is coming up. So, what have you been working through lately?
What have I been working through lately? Um, the last transmutation I did. Actually, that wasn't a transmutation. What was the last transmutation I did? You were probably there. I have no idea. It was too many days ago. It was like probably like 48 hours ago. It's gone now. It's
Do you ever
gone. It's
feel like it
lost to the
like
winds of time.
oh, you know what I want to talk about too is like
What?
the whole we're gonna say driver consciousness, or how about ride along? Let's
Observer
come up with an
consciousness.
yeah observer fits. I feel like
Yeah.
um,
Okay, so what's observer slash passenger consciousness to you?
well, so I was saying like I feel like when I do a lot of transmutations, um, it's almost like there becomes like this soft barrier or boundary that is like it's like softening the blow of reality between me and like my reality.
Softening the blow of reality.
Well, it's like almost having like earplugs in, you know? It's like it's just not as loud.
Okay, but if something happened, would it be loud?
Well, it's like when you work through your trigger, something that used to trigger you and it doesn't trigger you anymore, right?
Yeah,
What's the difference? Like it doesn't feel like it's loud in your head,
it's just
basically.
neutral.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like the observer or passenger consciousness almost allows you to just like be more neutral.
Yeah. I mean, I feel personally, I feel like all of the transmutations allow you to be more neutral in general. And neutral just means, it doesn't mean like not passionate or not alive or anything. It just means that you're operating based on preference in your reality in terms of the way that you perceive things.
Yeah. But like if you're,
But what does that have to do with passenger consciousness?
what do you mean? What does that have to do with passenger consciousness?
What does that have to do with passenger consciousness? Like, that's different. I feel like passenger consciousness is kind of like when you start, like, you're almost like zoned out. Like, you're just not buying into anything. You're not invested in anything. Whereas, like, just operating out of neutrality, I'm still like enthusiastic and passionate and whatever the fuck, but I'm still neutral about everything or most things.
I thought that's what passenger consciousness was, is like being like not allowing things to like pull you in and you just kind of like are moving through things.
I don't know. Maybe it is, but I don't feel like I just move through things. I feel like I'm more engaged in life than that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know anymore. I don't know what passenger consciousness is. Like,
Um
I don't know.
if
I've heard. Go on. You
no,
tell
you
me.
go. You go.
I've heard descriptions of like what it's like to be a 12th houser. Like, you can just be with a group of people, and then suddenly you're kind of like watching the whole interaction like it's a movie, blah blah blah. And I'm like, yeah, I've been in states like that, but I feel like I live in that kind of thing. But at the same time, I don't know, maybe I've married the two. Maybe I'm both. Like, I observe it like it's a movie, and also I'm like in it as a character. I don't feel like it's one or the other.
Okay, you ready for this?
Okay.
Passenger consciousness is a concept found in human design and it refers to a specific way of experiencing life, one where your awareness observes the journey rather than tries to control it. In essence, passenger consciousness is the witnessing aspect of your being, the part of you that watches your life unfold without interference, like a passenger in a vehicle rather than the driver. Um, Key elements.
Okay, but bullshit, because you
Wait,
have to
hold
also,
on.
you're making choices constantly.
Hold on.
Go
Okay,
ahead.
so you're not meant to drive your life. Your body's designed. Your body design, especially through your strategy and authority, navigates your path without your mind. The mind is the commentator, not the decision maker. It observes, judges, narrates, but it doesn't truly know what is correct for you. The passenger simply watches the ride with curiosity, acceptance, and presence. It aligns with non attachment and trusting the flow of your life path. Trying to control your life from the mental plane can lead to resistance, burnout, and misalignment. But by shifting into your passenger conscious, you're living in alignment with your design, you're trusting your body to respond, and freeing your mind from trying to fix and figure everything out, which I agree with. What?
Um,
What's your
it just
thoughts?
it just sounds like you're operating from a place of like alignment, authenticity, and soul direction and like noting your human design authority as you go
Yeah.
versus being in the old system of like trying to make every decision based off of logic. I wouldn't necessarily call that passenger consciousness. I think it's a shit name for like being aligned with your fucking soul. Because I
Yeah.
don't feel like
I
a
mean,
passenger. Like I feel like my soul is very fucking active in this whole process.
how about driver in a driverless car consciousness?
Um, if you want,
I don't
whatever
like
you
the
like.
idea of being like a passenger though, because it feels like you're just like being. Yeah, but I
That's
guess
what I'm
that's the
saying. Like
truth though. Yeah, but
I
that
don't
is
feel
the
like it
truth
is.
because
Is it? Because I don't feel like a fucking passenger in my life. I feel like I'm in the driver's seat and I'm consciously making choices
maybe you need to
about
get
what
in the
I
back
want.
seat.
Fuck your back seat.
Yeah, but if you're following like your authority, like your sacral authority, you're being pulled. You're not necessarily
That's
deciding
my
that.
soul choosing what I'm going towards. And I'm like, fuck yeah, soul, we're in. You know what I mean? Like, and this is how I've always lived. This is what I'm saying. I had a psychic tell me in a reading once, he's like, oh, you got this like Plutonian energy going on, like this Persephone thing. I'm not sure if he actually said Persephone, but he certainly was talking about Pluto. And he's like, you get drawn to these dark things, these dark experiences, these dark people, and you need to be really careful and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, that's so cute. Like, watch me date the fucking psychotic manipulator because it's fun and interesting to find out how people think and how they manipulate and how their minds tick. And I'm going to come out of it just fine. And I'm going to come out of it having broken my heart 1,000 times. But like having learned so much cool shit and been in these weird situations and um oh my god, like being in life and like making choices based off of like, is this gonna be painful or scary or whatever the fuck, like that's operating out of fear. I'd rather do the thing that I'm like organically being drawn towards because there's clearly a cool lesson in it and experience to be had.
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe I've just always done that, like maybe I've just always followed my sacral, and it doesn't necessarily feel like trying to drive my life out of logic. There's certainly times in my life where I've tried to be making like the smart decision or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, but then that's
I
listening
guess
to your mind and logic, not necessarily what you feel.
I don't know. I guess I'm thinking about the time where it's probably like a year ago and I had this intuitive knowing after doing spring cleaning that I should sell all my furniture. I was just like, I just feel like selling all my furniture. And then I was like, wait, what the fuck? And I didn't because I'm also like very possessive. So, and then I kind of got screwed because of it. You know what I mean? Valuable lesson, sure. But it
Yeah.
didn't necessarily feel like it was my soul telling me to sell all my furniture. It felt like more like guidance kind of thing.
Okay, but what does that mean?
Well, like if I guess if I was in passenger consciousness, I might have just been like, okay, this is happening now, and just gone all like fucking ragdoll about it. But I'm a fighter, like I'll fight back. So I
Yeah,
don't
but
know. I
you're
was
not
guided towards
supposed to
that,
fight.
but like,
Fighting is resistance.
but what was I resisting? Because it's still me that wants to keep all my furniture.
Yeah, you're fighting. Yeah, but is it? Or is it like the belief that it's like your conditioning? It's like your belief is telling you, like, oh, this is ridiculous. I want to
I didn't think
sell
it
all
was
my.
ridiculous. I thought it was. I was like, no, I want to keep. I like my furniture. I don't want to get rid of it. And also, like putting things on the internet is annoying. Selling them and having
Yeah,
to deal with people and
you're
fucking
answering your own
around.
question.
So yeah, but it wasn't like a logical. I wasn't like, oh, but it's like smarter to keep it all. Blah. Like it was just like, no, I like my furniture. Like, it was, if anything, that's more sacral than the like weird,
Yeah,
like
so
kind
you're
of
still
layer of
following your
reality that
body.
dropped. All right,
Just say I'm right and you're wrong.
you're so right. You don't even know what you're right about right now.
Yeah. But there was a point to why I wanted to talk about that too, though.
And what was that point, Pete? What was that
Maybe it's
point?
like, is that your evolution? Like, are you supposed to get to passenger consciousness where you're just following like your body's cues?
But my body's cues feel like me. They feel like my soul. I've always identified with that.
Man, you're just like naturally just want to resist when like you're being told like a certain thing or a way, you know?
What? I
What do you have
like
Aquarius in?
sixth house, but I have an 11th house sun, which I have told you has Aquarian flavors. Um,
How do you have Aquarian flavors? What does that mean?
well, like if you have a 12th house stellium, you feel pretty Pisces. If you have an 8th house stellium, you feel pretty Scorpionic. If you have a ninth house stellium, you'll have some flavors of Sagittarius. If you like all of these houses, it, people who disagree with this theory of astrology do not get in the comments. I don't give a fuck. I feel like all of the houses have flavors of their kind of corresponding signs. And if you have like an abundance of house energy in your chart, if you have a house stellium in your chart, you're going to have some of the flavor of that thing. So I have an 11th house sun, and therefore I have kind of a degree of like Aquarian expressiveness,
Mm-hmm.
but also, predominantly 12th house energy. So
Yeah. I
for
mean, I
everything
agree with
else.
that because I feel like you have the Aquarius of like, don't tell me what to do or how to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I don't know because I feel like
I
that's where I feel like I'm kind of heading or am
To
bringing
passenger
more,
consciousness.
just like moving through without like the need to like analyze and just kind of like, I also feel like there's kind of this like neutrality. Like I still feel activated by things. I'm activated now. It's like it's almost 2 o'clock in the morning where I am, and I'm not like really tired.
You
And
did
I'm
make
just
yourself
like,
coffee.
yeah, but coffee doesn't really affect me anymore. You know,
Then why do you drink it?
mental. My belief is that it does something to me.
So therefore it does something to you.
Yeah, like I could literally like if we shut this off right now, I would just like probably fall asleep like if I wanted to.
Well, that's ADHD.
Why?
Well, supposedly people with ADHD can just like sleep if they have coffee. Like they're not affected by caffeine the same way as other people.
Really?
Yeah,
I've
you
never
can look it
heard
up if
that.
you like.
I've never heard that.
Oh. Yeah, and look, I hate the idea of passenger consciousness. I hate it. I hate this idea that I'm meant to just floppily just like let life take me where it wants to take me. I prefer the idea that I consciously am choosing it all, even if that is also simultaneously true with life taking me where it wants to take me. And I feel like I identify more with the higher aspects of myself than the fucking lower aspects of myself. There's still ways in which I identify with the lower aspects of myself. That's every time I'm making a decision out of shadow. And other than that, I am fucking conscious. I am in the driver's seat. I'm steering the steering wheel.
Yeah. Yeah, but
Is
why
it's
can't you
just like
be
that.
why can't
Well,
you be
so much
steering
louder
the
now.
steering wheel from a more neutral body awareness perspective?
I have always been, well, what do you mean a neutral body awareness perspective? What the fuck does that mean?
Just like
Snakeskin.
I guess more free. Ooh, more free.
More free.
Yeah, you're just like following your body. Your mind is what kind of like
I feel like I always
uh
have, in a way.
yeah. Well,
I
how?
don't
What do you
feel
mean?
like my mind has had much choice in my life. Let me put it like that. Like, I feel like my emotions have driven me. I feel like
Well, you're a
my.
Cancer. I mean, you're like
I've also got
conditioned.
moon on my ascendant.
Yeah.
Uh, like, I don't know. That's not necessarily. I have a very incredibly strong mind at the same time, but Um, all right, let me put it like this. I don't feel like I've often been able to fight my shadow about things. Or maybe that's not true. That's not true either. What's the actual truth in this? I just maybe I've just always made the more exciting decision than the more. That's not true. The fuck. I don't know. I'm just not passive. You know what this is? When I was a kid and my mum would like ask me what I wanted to do and then try and change my mind and convince me that actually I really inside wanted to do something else, or whatever the fuck, or just like in general, I would go what I call emotionally ragdoll or emotional ragdoll. And I would literally just go floppy, like passive, and just be like, okay, whatever. And I still do it, right? Like on my birthday, my grandma's like, oh, can I take you out for lunch? Where do you want to go? Or like dinner, rather. And I was like, okay, I want to go to this restaurant. This is the one that I like nearby. And she's like, oh, that's too expensive for me. Can we go to a cafe? And I'm like, okay, well, I want to go to this cafe. She's like, okay, no worries. And she's like, do you want anyone else in the family to come? And I was like, no, not really. And she's like, okay. And then I think eventually she was like, oh, your mom's going to come down. And can she come? And I was like, okay. And then eventually she's like, oh, your aunt is visiting me on that day. Can she also come? And I was like, okay. Like I just go, whatever the fuck. Like, this is your birthday now. Please enjoy whatever the fuck you're planning because it has
Yeah.
nothing to do with me or what I want. So please, proceed, continue. Like, I just go ragdoll. I just go, okay, this is what's happening now. It's probably not actually a positive decision because I could just say no. I could just be like, okay, well, if you don't want to take me to I don't know, the restaurant that I want, I'm cool. Or whatever the fuck. Like, it's just this constant erosion of decision. And that, like, for a generator, that's death. Like, as a generator, if I go, oh, do you want to do this thing? And you go, no. And I go, oh, are you sure? And then you're like, no, I don't think I want to do it. I'm like, yeah, but are you sure? Like, it could be this. And I put all these logical reasons towards you. Like, the second question and beyond, your generator response is gone. See
Yeah.
you later. Like, you have to trust the first impulse that you get from the sacral.
Yeah.
And so I guess, like, I just never stuck with my first response. Like, I mean, I couldn't as a child because it's
Yeah.
like, how do you just stand up to your insane mother? But beyond that, I don't know. Like, but when you say passenger consciousness and you just have to go with the flow of things, like there's like a fucking hedgehog inside me that's like, like I will not just go along with the flow. Fuck your flow. I'm gonna choose everything.
Yeah.
So it's that. Do we need to transmute it? I don't know
Maybe.
because I like a little fight in me.